Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm CheerandCosplay.
And I'm Kozi.
And it's the month of April. We have new stuff. We've left Rome in the past, and now we're moving on to the future, or whatever psychedelics the people were on that were making these animations for this month. It's Crazy Animation Month, and we started with a show called Mononoke. Has anyone seen this previously?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I thought I had, but now I'm starting to think I haven't.
Okay.
I have.
Kozi, what?
Okay.
Yeah. When did you watch this?
Back like 2018-ish,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
This was a horror anthology. It was a spin-off of another show called Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales, which I was not aware of, but that's a thing. Apparently, did you watch that one as well, or just this?
No, but I did. I knew it was based off of that, and apparently the third anthology in that is beat for beat one they redid in this one.
Which
called Bakeneko.
Which one was that? Was that the
Monster Cat. Not one that we saw.
Oh, the one they alluded to in the third episode in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. You have a little bit of continuity there. So, out the gate, what was everybody feeling with this? I definitely thought, okay, this is definitely a very unique and I don't think there's any other anime that really looks like this, except maybe the one this is probably spun off from, but it's at least was my initial thought on this. It was really interesting to look at.
I'll just get my thoughts out of the way first because I don't have much to say. I hated it. I did not like it at all. I messaged it. We were planning to record this on a previous day, and I thought I was going to miss it, so I gave Al my thoughts. So I'll just read what I sent to him. 1 second. Okay. Hard nay. I would never have made it in film school having to watch weird and abstract films. I didn't like this at all. If you like it, more power to you. Maybe I'm just a simpleton. I'm sure effort and care went into the show, but to me it felt like something I'd see on Adult Swim at 2 a.m., except it's not a stoner show. The voice acting is okay, I guess. So.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sub or dub?
I don't think there is a dub of this.
There is a dub of this.
Oh,
Oh,
and
The
I
dub
did
is
not see
really
that.
bad.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a dub.
Yeah, so if you watched it on Netflix, there is a dub.
I could
Yeah,
not find
it's
it
really
on
bad.
Netflix.
It's on Netflix, I told you.
You just change the language.
Okay, I don't know. I could not find it.
It's definitely
somehow.
on
It's
Netflix.
the same button as the subtitles.
Yeah.
It also appears below the play bar.
He thinks that it's not on Netflix at all, but it is.
I'm
It is
literally
on
looking
Netflix.
right now. Give me a minute. Because I
Okay.
went up there and I typed Mononoke and it came up with absolutely
That's where
nothing.
we watched. Do you have a VPN or something?
I
He
do,
does.
but...
I mean, was
Okay, it was not there before.
It was always there.
I mean, maybe your VPN had you somewhere else.
Son of a bitch. I don't put my VPN anywhere else. I'm in America. Alright, enough about my VPN.
Okay, well, you didn't miss out because the dub is almost unwatchable.
Oh my
A little
god.
bit, yeah.
I don't know if it sounds weird in Japanese or it's just because I don't know Japanese, but the cadence does not work in English.
No.
They were
It
just
really
really
doesn't.
bad voice actors, I'm sorry to say.
That too, unfortunately.
Yeah, can't speak to it, unfortunately. The Japanese didn't seem bad
Yeah,
as
that
far
was
as what I
fine.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I didn't. That was the one thing I said I didn't mind about the show.
Right. I think.
Yeah, so the English, they didn't even attempt to get the lip flaps lined
No.
up.
Yeah.
Their
no.
lines were so out of sync, it was insane.
Like their lips would move for a second and then they would start speaking, and I was like, oh no.
I feel like I see that sometimes, especially with anime movies where the animation's a little more detailed, especially with lip flaps and movements. And I think I could see how a show like this, which does take a lot of care in how they're animating stuff, would probably have that issue. Because normally
no,
it's
they
just
have bad line reads, Al.
I mean, that's probably
the
it. I'm
dub.
just saying, I feel like a lot of other shows will just have 2 or 3 mouth movements where it's fully open, closed, partially open, and they're just flap, flap, flap. Versus, you have I think in these, and like especially in like Ghibli films and other things, where you actually have them like pronouncing the words a little bit more, and those are far more difficult to switch the language on. But hey, maybe you're right. Maybe the voice actors just did a terrible job.
No, they really did.
I mean, that depends. Since this show came out in 2007, did they do dubbing back then when dubbing wasn't what it is now, or did they do it years later and just was like, who's gonna care about the dub for a show that came out years ago? So here you go.
I'm not sure. If it came out at the same time, I would imagine they would hopefully put a little more effort into it. I don't think dubs from like that time period were particularly bad. I mean, it's post Bebop. I think that some people were putting a little bit more effort into it.
I mean, it all depends. I mean, I guess, yeah.
It really did depend on the show. You
would have a great dub like Oron's dub that came out around the same time, but then you'd have dubs that would. I can't give a specific example, but I mean that is the case for anime nowadays too. But I guess back then anime was still not as mainstream, so you had probably not as much resources into the dubbing.
I feel like sometimes now it's a little bit worse because they don't give them a lot of time.
True.
But that's my thing, because there's so much like simulcast, and then the dub has to be out like the next day kind of thing. Like how much time do you get between this and that? So it's a little, I feel like that's what the problem was. I feel like you had a lot more time back in the day, so you were able to localize things and do things like that, and maybe put a little more effort into it if you had the budget, but maybe this was just not one of those cases. I mean, here's the thing. On the one hand, although I do like look at this thing and I find it really interesting, I do think this would have a very difficult time finding a market in the United States and like the Western audiences.
It's looking like the dub cast might have been because it went to Netflix.
Oh, okay.
That
yeah, then they probably didn't
sense.
give a shit.
No.
I'm really trying to think, like, it's rare that you get a good Netflix dub anymore.
The guy who directed the English dubbing is also the medicine seller.
Okay. I mean, that's not unheard of. Like, if you've been in the industry long enough, you can sometimes do that kind of thing, jump from actor to director a little bit. And to be fair, the medicine seller doesn't really have a ton of lines, so it's not going to be like a heavy role.
No.
That being said, you do kind of have to carry it.
There's only like 5 voice actors that they reused over and over.
I can kind of see that. It's not like the cast is very big, and it seems like it's a bunch of like, it's anthology, so it's a bunch of small isolated stories. I was saying to you, it kind of reminded me of Murder on the Orient Express a little bit, and like those movies and or books, depending on what you prefer.
Kind of a bottle situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like isolated, and then something bad happens, and there's a mystery around it. I did find that interesting. And again, it looks really cool, but I don't always know that the execution was perfect. I don't know. I think we can, like, if anyone else has thoughts before I get into that, you can maybe do that.
So, I will say, I haven't been feeling so hot this week, because issues. But I tried watching this, and the second I tried watching this, I got a headache. And I immediately took some ibuprofen because I'm like, no, I have to do my homework. So I did that, and the headache went away, and I threw on the dub, and I was like, okay, this is somewhat manageable, but I still was having a little bit of a hard time watching it in some like spots because they were doing like the really slow motion where it's kind of like jarring, like they don't do in between frames, and like they were doing like the frames where you're looking up at the ceiling and they're doing like the rotoscope thing, and I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to get sick. Because like visually this was very interesting, and I feel like plot wise, at least for like episodes 1 and 2 and like episodes 3, I feel like there's definitely stuff to like discuss there. Visually, like the show, I'm like, standing still, it was fine. Other things, I'm just like, I don't like what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, it's nice as paintings or digital artwork. It's just, the actual anime. Honestly, I feel kind of similar to Way of the House Husband, where I probably would rather read the manga than watch this in motion or lack of motion, if I'm being honest.
In fairness, it's nowhere near as much of a slideshow as House Husband was.
No.
Like, there were animated parts of this show.
I mean, I don't know. I thought this show was beautiful. I think it looks fantastic, and it's a really unique art style that looks like they put a lot of effort into it. Like, it does not look like a slideshow to me at all.
Well, I mean that in, like, there were some elements where it's like, it's a still frame, and then we cut to another still frame, and then to another still frame. But they're
But
kind
that's
of like,
very purposeful, though.
yeah, that.
Like,
Those are
yeah.
meant to be jarring, though.
Yeah, you can tell it was like a stylistic
Like,
choice.
this is a horror anime at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I do understand that. It's just, like, from a watching experience, like, I guess, like, because I already wasn't doing so good, like, physically, I feel like it didn't really help.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. Like, I actually really like the way the show was directed, which I don't think is something we often talk about, but like it being a horror anime and the way they were setting up the shots and the cuts and a lot of those things, I actually really started noticing that a lot more, but in a good way, because I thought it was really good for creating the atmosphere and the tension of a lot of the situations that they were in. I think my main problem is that I have never felt scared by an anime. I don't find anime horror scary. And maybe part of that is like some cultural stuff of like, you know, certain things that are found to be scary are not always scary in other contexts or this and that. But like
But I
something
think
about
like live action Japanese horror is terrifying.
yeah, it can be if done well. I think just it being animated just takes me out of like any moment of fear. And that's kind of, but I do genuinely feel like especially that first episode, those first 2 episodes, the story of the inn and the lady, had that been a live action scene, shot and cut the same way as they do in this show, I probably would have found that like horrifying and awesome at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But it being here, I still thought it was really good, but at the same time, it was like, this is not scaring me like maybe something else could, and it might just be a medium thing for me.
I don't know, that sequence where the cellar's going round and round and round, and on every round it's cutting to a different like angle of the shot.
Mm-hmm.
That lives rent-free in my head, man.
Yeah, it was cool.
I think about that often.
It was very cool. I'm just saying, like, for a horror thing, not very scary. But that might be a me thing.
To me, it felt more like atmospheric, supernatural horror. More so than like what I'd consider like horror. I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, Japanese horror, from what I've noticed, they don't do a lot of up close jump scary stuff. It's more psychological, or it's more internal, or
Atmospheric.
Messaging. Yeah, atmospheric, or what's the meaning behind it.
It's like vaguely creepy, but like not like unsettling is how I put it, more so than like scary, you know. But I think
like even
works.
when we like even when we watch the Junji Ito stuff, like none of that was like jump scary. Like it was all just, you know, creepy.
Yeah.
Do you wonder how you guys would have felt if you finished that second arc?
We ended up watching like 4 episodes because I thought the second arc was going to end with the second one, but we ended up not going to it.
There are only 2 arcs that are 3 episodes long. It's that second arc and the last arc.
I mean, we could probably like talk a little bit about the plot of these episodes a little bit. The first one was about a woman who is pregnant and is about to give birth, and she goes to an inn. Then the inn is full, and it turns out the baby is Jesus. I'm kidding. If anyone else feeling that a little bit, the setup. Okay, but yeah, so they take her up to a spook. Okay, whatever.
She's still like 4 months from giving birth too.
Yeah, it used to be an old whorehouse. The proprietor used to force her prostitutes to get abortions.
Yeah, so
the babies aren't very happy about it.
The ghosts of the babies.
Understandably.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's staying in the room where it all happened, and now she's being haunted by all the baby ghosts, and then the medicine seller has to come save the day. But does he in the end? I mean,
she wasn't being haunted.
Right. Yeah.
They just wanted to be born.
Yeah. It's a little vague in how things get resolved, I feel like. Was anyone else getting that?
All of the other spirits were killed to enable her to give birth to that one.
Is she still able to give birth?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's
Okay,
still
I just
pregnant.
wasn't sure because of all the blood. So
Yeah,
I
some
wasn't
of it-
sure if like maybe she was having a miscarriage.
Well, I think some of it was a bit of an illusion because like these creatures, the Mononoke, that the medicine seller is kind of like hunting down, they can make you like see illusions and stuff and like mess with your head a lot. So that's kind of what I thought was going on.
Okay.
Yeah, so they deal with that, and then he's on a boat that goes out into the not Bermuda Triangle, where they're accosted by evil spirits.
The Dragon's Triangle.
Yeah, and they fight a ghost ship with gunpowder, and then they meet a fish with a
Biwa.
biwa. That's the word. It's like a guitar, but not a guitar. And yeah, they have to face their fears, and then I didn't see the end of it, but yeah.
Oh man, the end's a real trip.
I mean,
I think it's the best part about that arc.
the whole show does feel like a bit of a trip, like just
Oh,
how
yes.
it's all put together. So
Did you even get to the hollow boat?
yeah, and then the episode cuts right when the priest starts talking about the hollow boat.
Okay.
So
Oh god.
yeah, I don't know about anyone else. I almost kind of feel like that second arc should have been the first one.
So I told you that the arc that was in the Samurai Tales,
Yeah,
they
the
also
cat.
rehashed in this,
Yeah, it feels
and
like
that's
it's
the Bakaneko arc. I
yeah.
feel like they should have led with that. But it's the last arc instead.
Oh, so they redo it again?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, I was kind of thinking that this second part on the boat should have been the first one because it would have added to the mystery a little bit more. Because at that point, if you're just coming into the show like we are, where you don't really know anyone and you don't know what's going on, you do, because like the ship goes off course because someone sabotaged it. And you're kind of like having that moment of like, well, someone on board had to sabotage it. Who was it? And I almost kind of feel like it would have been cool to not already know that the medicine seller was a good guy and like hunting ghosts, and maybe he could have been a suspect.
He could have been, though. Like,
Yeah.
his whole thing is that he wants to hunt these things down.
I know.
Why wouldn't he have sabotaged it into the middle of the sea?
I just feel like he seems more dangerous and more interesting if we haven't already seen him like save a pregnant mother. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yes.
we would have added just a little bit more tension, and I would have liked that.
I don't know. I got the feeling that he would definitely steer the boat into oncoming monsters. And then he got to hunt the monsters.
But I also feel like he's not the kind of person who's gonna just immediately sacrifice other people because he wants to do something. But I don't know. It was just
I don't think he'd
it was a weird
sacrifice them. I think he knows what he's doing.
thing.
He
Yeah,
could save
but-
them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, no, he was on that boat because he knew what was going to happen.
Okay.
He could have stopped it. He just did not.
I think he's more of a neutral character than you're seeing him.
Yeah, he's kind of just a guy doing his job
Yeah.
a little bit. And I said to you, like, he's given me a little bit of like, especially in the second arc, he's given me John Constantine vibes a little bit.
I can see it.
Like,
Well,
Which
you
wait
guys didn't even get to
which
see
version?
the spirit form.
Envy, what'd you say?
I said which version of John Constantine?
I'm most familiar with like some of the comics and like some of those adaptations. I know the
Hellblazer,
animated.
right?
Yeah. What was the one animated movie they had? He goes to L.A.
Oh
and
God, I don't remember the name of it. But I
well,
know
it
what
was a
you're
John
talking about.
Constantine movie, something about.
Because I thought you were going to say that the Keanu Reeves
No!
Constantine. For a
Trust me,
second.
I don't think anyone refers to that as actual John Constantine anymore. We've had much better adaptations, including live action adaptations of him at this point. But yeah, he just kind of gave me that vibe of like, yeah, I'm doing a job. I'll make a sarcastic comment every now and then, and
I could see the vibe then. But comic book John Constantine would correct you and say his name is Constantine, not Constantine.
Am I not saying Constantine?
Did you?
I feel like I have been. I said
Up
Constantine
until
for
this last
Keanu Reeves
sentence.
because he's not Constantine.
Okay, so wait for the
But-
Keanu Reeves is Constantine.
Yeah. That being said, we know Constantine would definitely be like, hey, you wanna get up some trouble with this guy? I think he's good looking enough. I think that he'd go for it.
Probably. Anyway,
I don't know, Kozi, you know more about this show, I guess. What other, like, elements do we kind of see with the Mononoke? We had, like, the ghost of the babies, and we had the ghost of the sister who, like, the hollow boat. Were they, like, trying to make, like, a living Buddha kind of situation? Was that
Exactly.
what's going on? Okay, all right. So, yeah, what other things were happening in some of the later ones? Without, like, going too spoilery in case someone wants to watch it, but, like, generally.
Betrayed wife.
Tree wife.
Oh, interesting.
Betrayed wife.
Oh, betrayed wife. I was
Yeah.
like, tree wife? What? Is this like Corpse Bride? You married an ent.
Yeah, betrayed wife who was murdered. Well, I guess she wasn't a wife. I guess she was technically a mistress, but
And then the cat thing you said
there's
was
that
the
creepy one with the dolls. I don't remember what their deal was, but
Well, dolls are always creepy, so.
True.
I mean, did you have American Girl dolls a while ago?
They weren't creepy.
They were very creepy.
That was when I was a child.
American Girl dolls are the bomb. They're only
Agreed.
haunted by the spirit of America.
Well, then they're pretty damn creepy. So, what else would you guys like to talk about this? I feel like we covered most of what we can cover here without going into heavier spoiler stuff if someone wants to watch this. Was there an element you guys like best?
honestly, we stopped right before the best arc.
Ah. Which one's that?
It's the one with the dolls, actually.
Always the dolls.
It's like a little girl who's like locked in a jail cell, but like she might have just been implying it was like a cell of her own mind, you know?
It does kind of feel like the kind of show that would have, like...
Yeah, so at the end of the arc, you're kind of like, did any of that actually just happen?
I feel like that's every
Or
one of
was
these
it all
arcs.
just a metaphor?
It feels like under different direction and a different vibe, this could be one of those shows where it's like, yeah, I just saved the world and no one will ever know because I reset everything so that it didn't happen kind of situations. Maybe. Or I'm interpreting this incorrectly. I don't know. Do we ever actually see the sword come out of the sheath?
Yeah.
Because I don't think we saw it in the first arc and I didn't get to it at the end of the second one.
Yeah,
It was the golden dude.
he didn't get that far.
Oh.
I think we saw a golden dude.
Very
I thought it
briefly.
happened in
Briefly.
the first arc.
Okay. So he has a Super Saiyan form, you're saying?
So he's actually technically a spirit.
So he's like Blade.
Okay.
Now it all makes sense.
So when he opens the sword, it's actually like an allegory for him unleashing his spiritual self.
So like Alucard and
And
Hellsing.
You're comparing
You
him
get to
everyone.
see him, how like the human side works in tandem with the spiritual side.
All right.
So, like, Venom. Listen, anything to make this show make sense.
So he's Shazam.
Oh no.
There's a sequence where you watch his human half hand his spirit half something. I don't remember what it was, but he like blew it up a second later, so.
Must not have been important. Or very important. Who could say? Could go either way in this kind of show. So, I'm trying to think, who, I mean, we might as well get down to, like, what everybody's final thoughts are, I guess. I feel like we've covered probably most of what we can cover here. Like, does anyone think they're going to continue watching this, maybe?
No?
I don't know. Maybe. It's like I found some of it kind of slow, but I think it was really well done, and I really liked the animation, and I like horror anthologies like this, so maybe I would, and especially because Kozi said like there are good arcs coming up, I might give it a shot, but I'm kind of like, maybe.
Okay. I might be a light yay here. I don't think I'd binge this. I think it is a little bit slow at times, which I think is one of the few problems I have with it. But I might watch an arc all the way through and then drop it for a little bit and then come back to it. I wouldn't be able to do that much because I know it's a short series. So
I would recommend at least finishing the second arc if you started it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like all of the really good, like, plot elements and beats are in that last episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And like the animation during it is so fucking pretty.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I
Yes.
love the animation. I think it's beautiful.
that is the number one thing we can definitely recommend about this, I think.
I'm a light yay. I don't really think I would continue watching it though, mostly just because like mostly just because of the headache I was getting while watching some of it happen. I don't know, like, maybe I just need to watch it when I'm not having a headache, but I kind of am just like, I'd rather not make myself sick while watching something.
You would not like one of the episodes because they violently kill a cat.
No.
I mean, I hate anything where they violently kill a cat.
I know.
Yeah, no, this wasn't for me, so it's a hard nay for me.
Fair.
I'm not gonna lie, this show caused a processing error in me.
You didn't even watch it.
I
made you put the sub on, and you didn't even like look back up at the subtitles.
Yes, I did.
No, you did
I
not.
watched what was happening. I really don't know how I feel about this. It's very different animation-wise. I think it's cool they tried something different. I do not know if it's for me, but good on them. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
I mean, I obviously watched it once through already and rewatched it, so I think that speaks for itself. But like, I like the more like open-ended kind of interpretation stuff, but I can see how that would frustrate people.
Okay. Well, yeah, seems definitely an interesting show. Definitely interesting animation, which was what we're kind of covering for this whole month. And yeah, we're going to continue with that into next week with a show that I actually do remember watching. So I was there the first year that the university's anime club was put together, and this was one of the shows that we watched back then before you guys were there. It's called Gankatsuo, The Count of Monte Cristo. It's from 2004, which we're going way back a little bit at this point. I just realized this is a 20-year-old anime at this
It's
point.
pretty gay.
Yeah, well, it's Count of Monte Cristo, so, you know, it's going to be a little
Yeah.
gay.
It's pretty gay.
It's French.
I would hope so.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you know anything about the Count of Monte Cristo, it's an adaptation, so there's that. Except it's set in the future of 5053.
Oh,
So
interesting.
sci-fi and maybe someone's a vampire. I was never entirely clear on it because I didn't watch the whole thing. But I might have to go back and watch the entirety of this if it ends up being good next week. But yeah, come back and find out. We're gonna take a look at that and some other things this month, and then yeah, we'll be doing other things along with that. We'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!